Water, the building block of life. It covers 70% of the Earth's surface. We love to go fishing, boating, swimming in our beautiful Florida waters. But who is protecting our waterways? I'm here to learn the answer to that and to show you how our oceans and inland waters are all being threatened.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am out in St. Augustine this morning doing a little bit of fishing and highlighting one of the local organizations that cleans up our waterways and protects Florida water.
Come along as I join a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to protecting the health of the Guana, Talamado, and the Matanzas Rivers, along with their watersheds. What this organization is doing impacts all of our waters. The Matanzas Riverkeeper's place of business is located behind one of the local favorite bait shops in the area. It's called Genungs. I'm gonna run you through it real quick just because it is a great shop. They've been around for a long time. They supply everything you need for surf fishing and inshore fishing, and they're always willing to share a little knowledge with their customers. Okay, you guys, I'm out with Mr. Silas. He's the captain of the Litter Getter. It is a 24-foot Carolina skiff that the river keepers take out with volunteers to do river cleanups, remove trash, and to teach the community about issues involved with marine debris and litter. I did talk Mr. Brett with Fish Bites in adjoining. They've worked closely before with this organization.
On the way to the first spot after leaving the launch, we ran into a big school of tarpon.
Oh, there he is. Oh, that was a big boy.
That was a big tarpon.
Holy smokes.
Ooh, there he is. Get him, Brett. Jeez.
Right behind you, right here.
Oh my goodness.
This might just be a Nat Geo situation.
Oh my gosh. That can't be a tarpon. Look how big that thing is.
I mean, looking silver like that.
Did you see the size of that? Ooh. Ooh, are you on?
I think a foul hook.
Oh. We'll keep the bait. Oh no, you got it.
We chased this bait ball and just had an amazing time messing with the tarpon.
There's at least 3 or 4 tarpon in there. 2, 3. Y'all fish it, I'll keep up with them.
There's 2 of them.
The river keepers do a really cool program that I want to share with you guys. It's called PORT, short for Pollution Observation and Reporting Tool. It is a volunteer-based detection and reporting program that helps to monitor local waterways. It is an online tool that empowers the local community to actively engage in safeguarding the natural resources. You can scan the QR code or go online to report issues. I'll quickly run through the different types of pollution. Coastal debris. It poses entanglement issues for animals and leaches chemicals into the water. Fish kills. This is a localized die-off of fishing populations, typically due to low oxygen in the water or other pollution issues.
Something just sucked off my
Did it really?
it just literally, not even a hit, it just sucked it right off. We're right in the middle of it now. All of a sudden, an oil slick. You guys have heard of this. Oil spills show as a large rainbow sheen on the water and can harm aquatic animals, also making seafood unsafe to eat. An algae bloom. There's many different algae, and a lot of them are beneficial to the environment. But when the water becomes heavy with pollution, it can cause harmful algae blooms. Oh my gosh. That was a big one. Yeah, the tarpon's right on the edge. He just surfaced. Did you see it? Pollution discharge. Industrial factories, sewage treatment plants, and even rainwater that moves across the land picking up fertilizers and pesticides can spread pollution by discharging it right into our water. While some pollution discharge is permitted, there are often situations where a discharge is illegal or doesn't meet treatment standards. This type of pollution can cause massive algae blooms. And when the algae dies, bacteria consumes the oxygen in the water. They're teasing us. Look at that. I know. Snag some bait. You want to put it for live bait?
Oh yeah. Smash the hatch.
Heck yeah. In front of us now. You want to come up?
Yeah, sure. I think we got a tragedy of the masses situation. So much bait up here, I don't think that we got a chance in hell.
That was really cool though.
We gave it our best shot. They just would not eat anything we threw at them. So we're going to move on to the next spot.
So we're here down in the Matanzas Inlet, or Matanzas River near Matanzas Inlet, and we've got some PVC poles here that were placed by some researchers a number of years ago, denoting the line of the marsh when they installed those PVCs. So you can see how far back the marsh has retreated from that initial marsh line. We're losing about anywhere from 1.5 feet to 1 meter of marsh per year, largely attributed to boat wakes coming down the middle of the intracoastal waterway and waking out the surrounding salt.
The big
marsh.
boats.
Yeah, the big
not
boats.
Not like the little fisherman boats.
Yeah, it's mostly those deep trawlers that are coming. You know, the snowbirds that are coming from up north down south, and vice versa. Just, you know, too much energy in the system.
Yeah.
And it's basically shelving off some of that Spartina marsh, which is reducing our availability for those marshes to absorb nutrients, absorb floodwater. So. And
we can't get them back naturally.
No, unless we slow down the energy of the environment, it's just going to keep widening the channel. So
that's terrible.
Kind of just a touchstone through time, so you can see how far that, you know, that was the closest one towards us was probably about 10 years ago. So that gives you a kind of good point of reference. And obviously it changes where.
Oh, in 10 years you could lost that much shoreline, huh?
Yep.
Wow. So they can't do no wake zones, or they just don't want to?
So the no wake areas are managed by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, and they largely install the slow or no wake zones in relation to human safety. So we've actually got a new one within our watershed up near the Castillo de San Marcos at a kind of a blind intersection where there was a near accident a few years ago. So it takes something like that for them to institute a new no wake zone.
So is there a way that we can talk to our representatives in the state about issuing more and protecting our land more?
Providing a voice for the river is, you know, the main ways that we can, you know, institute new policy that will help protect our systems. So not only when it comes to marsh loss, but in terms to, you know, doing septic to sewer conversions, doing any kind of fertilizer maintenance or fertilizer ordinance to reduce the nutrient loading coming into the system. All that's going to come through either your local municipality, i.e. your city or county commission, or potentially up to your state or house reps.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a lot of advocacy work trying to identify policies that would help protect our watershed. So
Do you,
Matanzas
I was going to say,
Riverkeeper.
do you post them on your website then?
Yeah. So we always have calls to action. So if you follow Matanzas Riverkeeper on Instagram and Facebook, we'll be posting our calls to action there. We wrapped up legislative session about a month or so ago. They're still working through the budget right now. This legislative session, we were largely playing defense, and the outcome of the session was kind of a meh. The bad stuff didn't get through, the good stuff didn't get through. It was kind of just a, regroup and try again next year. So we were fortunate to get, there was a big bill that we were targeting called the Blue Ribbons Project Bill, which would have allowed developments of larger than 15,000 acres, basically a carte blanche pass, a rubber stamp, wouldn't allow any kind of public input process. And there was directly going to be about 45 to 50,000 acres within St. Johns County that would have been directly affected by some kind of legislation such as that. So we had a lot of calls to action to try to push back against that issue specifically. But we're always looking to get new policies passed so that we can offer additional protections for the watershed as well. So
I know it sounds like a lot of scientific talk,
yeah.
but here's the fisherman in me. So if our waterways are polluted with plastics, with chemicals that we're spraying on our lawns, it's going to hurt the fishery, number one. So fishing as a sport is going to not be as good. But two, anything that our sea life is consuming, we as humans are consuming as well. I mean, there's so many studies now that the babies that we're having and the next generation below us are being born with plastics already in their system, right? You probably know
correct.
more than I do about that.
There's local research been done where they're finding microplastics in oyster tissues and in fish tissue. There was work a few years ago done by Bonefish Tarpon Trust looking at actual chemical contaminants within redfish and other
Trout,
larger predators, and we're finding common pharmaceuticals within these fish. So
and we're eating the fish.
Correct.
That's the thing. You
Correct.
guys have to remember, we're eating the fish. Everyone. I don't care if you're catching the fish that day or if you're going to the supermarket and buying your tilapia. Everything that our fish are eating or the oysters we're consuming and then passing it down. So that's why it's so important to really listen to all the knowledge Silas is passing on to you guys. As we just pulled up to where we're going to get out and walk and fish, and Silas is already looking for trash. And he's finding it. Oh, yeah.
bottle caps and plastic bags.
And what will that kill, Silas?
So we have a lot of issues with interactions with wildlife. So turtles, fish, birds.
Because turtles think the plastic bags are jellyfish, so
Correct.
they eat it and they'll
it.
choke on it,
You got
right?
it. Yep. Yeah. So we do a lot of education about responsibly disposing of your plastic, or choosing to not use it at all. Honestly, that's the best option.
Yeah, I agree. If you bring it, take it home with you.
Yep.
Right? And then if you see it, take it home with you as well.
Yep.
Look how gorgeous. We're about to go fish this.
We've seen a pretty general decline in our local water quality here within the Matanzas Estuary. We're seeing increased nutrient loading, specifically looking at nitrogen and phosphorus, likely coming from the rapid development that our area has seen. We're starting to see dissolved oxygen trends heading in the downward direction, especially in the Saltwater River, and this suggests early signs of eutrophication. Eutrophication is where increased nutrient loading promotes algal growth and ultimately depletes dissolved oxygen levels within the water, often resulting in fish kills. Our estuary is undergoing a death by 1,000 cut scenario, and honestly there's no real main culprit for the pollution, so the solutions that we need are going to be multifaceted. And recently, Waterkeepers Florida sued the Environmental Protection Agency for failing to adopt regulations to protect the people who swim and fish in Florida's waters from toxic chemicals. So our local salt marsh here is Spartina alterniflora, or smooth cordgrass. We're starting to see our marshes drowning at a measurable rate from sea level rise. Additionally, boat wakes can accelerate this bank erosion, and this can be a local fixable cause just by slowing down around sensitive areas of marsh. Unfortunately, a lot of the marsh migration corridors here locally are blocked by development and hardened shorelines, which isn't allowing those marsh vegetation species to migrate further up in the elevation profile. In terms of our land conservation issues, we've really started to focus on protecting the land that surrounds the estuary, because we've learned that protecting the land ultimately protects our local water quality as well. Because what happens on land directly affects the health of our local waterways. When it rains, pollution from the land are essentially washed into storm drains and directly into the river without any form of treatment. One way to help protect the estuary against this runoff is vegetated buffers that will filter the runoff before it enters the river. So think of a nice strip of vegetation right along the river's edge to help filter out those pollutants before they get to the waterways.
Okay, I am not catching anything. Neither are the guys. I think I'll just do a good deed and go help Silas pick up a little bit of trash.
We're starting to do more and more in terms of fisheries rulemaking. So FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, often undergoes a rulemaking process where public comment is provided by the general public to guide FWC's management of the fisheries. And so redfish, trout, flounder stocks are all tied to our estuary health. You can't have a healthy fishery without a healthy estuary. And we're starting to see the habitat loss that we're witnessing within our estuary compounding with the harvest pressure on these key species. We're starting to see decreased prevalence within the estuary of those certain targeted species. So oftentimes the FWC, they have to kind of balance the availability of scientific data against the political pressure in these rule-making situations. And our local anglers are the most credible messengers for conservation, to be that voice. If we want to keep fishing for these species and go out and keep catching fish, we really need to be the voice and help FWC manage these stocks appropriately.
Silas, how many pounds of trash do you think you guys pick up?
So year to date,
Do you weigh it?
yeah, oh yeah.
Do you really?
So not only do we weigh the trash that we collect, we also collect data about the types of trash that we are collecting. So to date, we are at about 5,900 pounds of trash this year alone.
Holy moly.
Right at almost about 3 tons of trash. A large majority of that we did a cleanup earlier this year at Fish Island, which is a property that was purchased by the state for conservation, and it's managed by the city of St. Augustine. So we helped the city of St. Augustine clean that area up. So we pulled about 3,000 or 4,000 pounds out of that site alone.
Is it because you guys hadn't targeted that site, or just collects that much?
It's people experiencing homelessness, unfortunately.
Oh, that's sad.
So these are abandoned camps that are just left to deteriorate out there in the woods. And so as these plastics degrade, they will be introduced, as the proximity of that site is so close to the river. If we have a large storm event, those are going to
Just
be washed
broken,
into
yeah,
the
broken
river.
down and washed in.
So that was very unfortunate, and we'll probably revisit that site every couple years or so. But you know, in the water itself, we're already at about 1 ton this year. So
My goodness, and all volunteer work.
yep, yeah, all
That's
volunteer
amazing.
work. So, and we take up to 8 folks out on the boat with me. I always tell folks they're definitely going to have a good time, and they do generally enjoy it. I mean, as I mentioned, we take a break in July and August because of the heat, but our trips are about 2 hours, and gets people out in the field and kind of gets them, a sense of the natural beauty that we have here locally, and then kind of the biggest issues that we have surrounding the plastic.
And they can go on your website to find out.
Definitely, yeah. You can always find more information on matanzasriverkeeper.org.
There you go. Me and Brent are having fun just picking up garbage, but we are going to look for fish, so.
We're gonna go find some fish.
Yeah. Brett's pulling in flatties. I wasn't even set up yet, but oh my goodness. All right, this is a good spot, Silas.
Get on the boat.
Yeah, let's share
Off the boat. Right,
share the love. And he got it on
Dirty boxer.
Dirty Boxer, curly tail. And that's your Fish Bites rod, right? 7 foot?
That is.
Your inshore?
That's the bull bay sniper.
Mm.
Florida Fishing Products reel.
All right, nice work, man.
All right, get on them.
Wetlands are an important ecosystem that provides habitat, retains floodwaters, and is a filter for the pollutants.
It's noted that 1 acre of wetland can store up to 1 million gallons of floodwater.
I want to add that being the natural kidneys of our waterways, these wetlands can reduce sediments, heavy metals, and nutrients by up to 60 to 90% before the water flows into larger lakes, rivers, and then eventually the ocean. That is why it's so important to protect these
Guys,
lands.
I just told Silas he was slacking, and look at him. He's proving me
Turn the camera off.
No, is it a shark? Oh, a catfish.
Artificial? Or you
No, it's floating shrimp.
Oh, man. All right, well, Silas and I are still slacking then. Brett's on again. Oh, oh my goodness. He really wanted to see what you were throwing.
The shrimp, though.
Yeah, he did.
I am sorry.
All right, so Brett caught that flounder and then switched over to a live shrimp and a pop cork.
Popping cork.
There you go. With the fish bites jig head.
And the fish bites.
Yeah, there you go. All about the fish bites.
Not just about bait anymore.
No, I'm using, I got 2 of the fish bites rods down there too. They're nice.
The oysters that we have within our estuary are native Castrostrata virginica oyster reefs, or the eastern oyster. So oysters, they're very important filter feeders. 1 oyster can filter about 16 gallons a day in our estuary, and that's about a keg of beer. And we're starting to see reefs declining, especially near the intercoastal waterway. And research from the University of Florida is showing this is largely attributed to boat wakes. Yeah, so people actually own the water column. They lease the water column from the state. They can go. These are specifically for clams. So Mike Sullivan has Commander's Fish Camp, and they grow wild clams out here to serve in their restaurants. He also works closely with the University of Florida Whitney Lab to do clam restoration in the Indian River Lagoon.
Really? What restaurant is this?
So Commander's Seafood Camp.
I'm gonna have to go eat there now.
Yeah, it's a great spot. Mike's a good guy.
Wow, that's, so they just put basically a permit on that little stretch?
Yep, so they lease it from the state. That's what those signs are saying. So nobody's allowed to go in there and harvest those bags, obviously.
Have you seen them pull the clams?
Yeah, they're in just little mesh bags.
That's it? So not cages or anything?
Nope.
How many does he pull out per bag about?
I'm not sure.
You don't know?
Depends on the size. So as he's rearing them, you'll have less clams in that bag as they're getting larger. But when he starts them off, I mean, they're just larger than the size hole in the mesh bag. So
wow,
the size of a fishing bead.
Yeah, a little tiny bead.
But having,
Does he do oysters out here? Or just clams?
No, just clams.
Just a clam guy. Having what?
So we're always, advocating for appropriate aquaculture usage within the watershed, because that's just going to introduce more filter feeding.
Right, clams, oysters, they all filter it out.
And if we can create a culinary market for filter feeders and have aquaculturists come in and want to put in farms and in the water, that's only going to help improve the water quality.
And they're delicious when you go to order.
They are delicious. So
I'd love me some oysters.
yeah. So most of the nutrient issues that we have here within our watershed come from land use. So it's runoff coming from the land that is feeding the nutrients within the system. May that be fertilizer runoff, may that be wastewater discharge by the municipality, or it could be leaky septic tanks as well. So we know that we're starting to see we have a fair amount of nutrients within our system, because we are starting to see increased algae, like within the Palliser Creek station. Palliser Creek has been impaired for chlorophyll. And we are starting to see instances where these tributaries are becoming more and more polluted with these nutrient pollution. So a few years ago, we did some work in the San Sebastian River, which is kind of the main river that runs through St. Augustine, found some elevated levels of not only nutrient but those chlorophyll species as well. So Starting to see a general decline in our local water quality, which is not a great thing. We are lucky to have 2 inlets within our estuary, which provides, you know, our estuary to take a nice deep breath and discharge all of the water within the estuary about every couple of months or so.
So it's flushing it out, basically.
We do have a relatively well flushed system, but it's kind of been a silver lining, because that's been kind of it's allowed us to kind of develop the land and push that discharge, and the pollution that we're introducing, it might catch up to us.
But if you're flushing it out, it's flushing into the Atlantic then,
Correct,
right?
correct.
So all of that bad stuff is going still out into a different body of water. Did you know any of this, Brett?
I did not know any of this. No.
So,
You guys, he is a wealth of knowledge. Like, I can't, you're just seeing a little bit of all that we're hearing, and you can tell this is a smart guy that is passionate about it.
So, and if we do have those instances of pollution spills, and specifically those the sewage discharges into the river, we're always pushing out notifications. So when we get those instances happen, an email comes to our inbox, and then we will push out information through our social media channels. So we're always telling people to, you know, follow us on Facebook or Instagram, sign up for our newsletter, because that's where that information is going to be coming from.
And so if the general public gets this information, what can they do with it other than?
So at that point, it would be making your own personal decisions if you want to take the risk and go out and expose yourself to that water.
So you're not just looking to clean up the waterway, you're also looking to protect the public.
Totally. Yeah, and that's where this really interfaces with the general public, is that human health component. So may it be you're ingesting fish that have PFAS, or, you know,
PFAS is that plastics, you guys.
Yes,
He's a scientist.
yeah,
I'm trying to dumb it down.
Yep. So Teflon coatings and like Gore-Tex material. There's been new research that a lot of those compounds that they use to make water repellent, or like you know, pans that are non-stick pans, those chemicals they're called forever chemicals. They foreverly persist in the environment, and there's been science showing that they are not only endocrine disruptors, but they're also being found in newborn babies as well. So this is something that's passed through the bloodstream, and it's directly affecting human health, and that's really where, you know, that's where the rubber's going to meet the road in terms of public awareness.
Silas, how long did you go to school?
So I hold a master's degree in biology. So all
I knew
said
it was
and
a long
told,
time.
and you know, I grew up on this river, grew up in this area, and kind of have seen how this area has just exploded over the last 10, 15, 20 years, and just really have worked to try to protect what I grew up enjoying to do.
We need more people like Silas out in the world. It's pouring rain. We're heading back in. Little update. We'll pick up this video when it dries out.
Over a cold beer.
Did you hear Silas?
Over a cold beer.
We do go over to Commander's and get some clams and a few drinks.
Mr. Mike Sullivan, he runs Commander's Shellfish Camp here on the river. And what he's doing, he's pulling river water out of the Matanzas River to grow his clams here at Commander's Shellfish Camp. And not only is he using these clams, he's growing these clams out in the river to serve in his restaurant, as well as they're working to restore the clam population in the Indian River Lagoon. So Mike Sullivan and Dr. Todd Osborne at the Whitney Lab have been working together to reintroduce clams both into the IRL and hopefully into the Matanzas River as well. So this is kind of the intersection of shellfish aquaculture, water quality, and community engagement.
Enjoyment of eating them.
Exactly, right, because here we are sitting over the Matanzas River, and people will see this operation going on, and it kind of is a talking point, because we're very lucky to have good enough water quality here that we can still harvest our oysters here seasonally and offer individuals the opportunity to have aquaculture operations within our watershed. Which is a great benefit to not only the socioeconomics of our area, but also the estuary itself. This is the tumbler that he's got right here. So what he does is he comes and the tumbler helps him sort the different size oysters.
Is there a size that he puts back if it's too big?
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
There's a certain size that he's ready to bring to market versus needs to go back out into the wild and grow some more.
So this water comes up these pipes.
Exactly. Yep. So he's got a whole piping system here where he's pulling the water from the river and running it through these individual tanks here to feed those clams that he's got growing. So obviously Mr. Sullivan is very concerned with our local water quality because it is basically what he's using to grow these clams.
Right. And how long has he been doing this, do you know?
So Mike came up here, I don't know the exact year, but I've been working with Mike since my time at the state, and so I've been working directly with Mr. Sullivan for probably about 10 years or so, but he historically was in the IRL and moved up here because of those water quality concerns further down south.
So for this area in the last 10 years, has he seen improvement or a decline?
So he is a very stark proponent of the data being collected by the research reserve, and unfortunately we are seeing a general decline in our local water quality, and that obviously has his ears kind of perked up, because this is, you know, he runs his business off of the clean water coming from our river.
Right,
so,
that's how he's making his living up right off the water,
yes.
like many people do.
Right. But these are clams that he is hatching in situ within this environment, growing them to a certain stage, and then moving them out there, where they're not predated by and they can, you know, they're larger than the hole in the mesh bag.
Right.
So at that point they're ready to be located out into the river and then grow in true river water instead of having to have them because obviously he's restricted in space here. So there's also a lot of research being done here locally, some by Professor Matt Brown up at Flagler College, trying to figure out if our water quality here is declining in terms of the shell secreting organisms being able to continue to secrete that shell. So as I'm sure everyone's heard of, maybe not, ocean acidification. So as the pH of our local waters decreases, it makes it harder for shell forming organisms to secrete that shell and grow that shell. And so as we see water quality trends decreasing in terms of the pH values, it makes it harder for those organisms to grow their shell. And so there's research being done trying to figure out if that is happening within our watershed. There's some early data being collected in the San Sebastian River which shows that that is the case, but we're yet to see how that translates here in the next few years.
Wow, so the shellers are gonna have a warning right now.
The oysters and the clams are gonna have a harder time making their own shells. So that's concerning to us.
Very concerning.
They're all their protection, right?
Exactly, yeah. Once those shells become brittle enough where they're breaking under a little bit of pressure, then they're going to succumb to either the boat wakes that we were mentioning earlier, or like sheep's head are going to be easier to get into
predators.
shellfish, because those shells aren't as thick.
Wow.
That's a lot.
You have a lot of knowledge in that brain, Silas. So much.
One thing that Mike Sullivan does here is he runs a mangrove nursery. We've got three species of mangroves within our watershed. So we've got red mangroves, black mangroves, and white mangroves. So here we can see where Mr. Sullivan has planted, looks like 7 red mangroves alongside of a black mangrove. So Mike Sullivan has a mangrove nursery where he grows mangroves and offers them for restoration practices. We're very lucky to have mangroves within our watershed because they provide us a lot of storm surge protection along the coast. So it's been shown that mangroves are at least 4 to 5, at least 6 times as better at protecting our coast than traditional salt marshes, so attenuating those storm surge waves. So you can see here we've got some mangroves that are lining the edge of the intracoastal waterway, and Mr. Sullivan has planted 7 of these mangroves in hopes that those mangroves will help his property be protected against surge if we have a
hurricane
tropical system.
Yeah,
yes.
That's the thing, is the hurricanes. So unfortunately a lot of the mangroves and all that gets ripped out for just, you know, the pretty palm trees on the beachfront property.
And so mangroves do have a state protection, so it is a permitted species. So mangroves are offered state protection in terms of they are allowed to be trimmed within 4 and 6 feet, but below 4 feet and above 6 feet they are protected via the state. to offer that protection for our coastal areas.
It's kind of like the dunes, you guys. So we know that the dunes are protecting the houses, the infrastructure from the hurricanes, from that water rushing up and cleaning it all off. So I would say, do you think that mangroves are even better than the dunes because of their root system?
So the mangroves do very well at being an anchor for the marsh and attenuating that wave energy. Because they are a woody species, they really damper that wave energy as those waves comes ashore, which really offers protection against that erosion forces that you would have.
So
if
it
those
slows
mangroves,
down that fast.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it's going to slow down and damper those waves before they get to uplands, which offers more protection against erosion.
Makes sense. You guys are gonna join us for a late lunch, early dinner here at Commander's, and we're just gonna shoot the shiznits. That's basically it. And I do want to mention, Mr. Liam showed up. Oh, talking about clams.
Yeah.
Here we go. Thank you.
There we go. So he was telling us, and I'm sure earlier in the video you saw the clam plots they have out there. We actually have some of these fresh clams right here. We're going to try out. They came right out of the river. You saw the hatchery over there. Silas, thank you so much for having us, man.
Yeah,
one thing he kept going back to as we were on the boat today was the Whitney lab. And what's really cool about that for me is Fish Bites was developed at the Whitney lab. Dr. Carr back in the 80s, 90s, working on this technology that is Fish Bites today. So it's so cool to see it keep going with the Whitney lab.
Right.
I mean, give them some props. They keep
Oh,
putting it out
Dr.
there.
Carr would have loved a boat ride like this today.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have such a prestigious research institution within our watershed. You know, having the University of Florida Whitney Lab, I mean, it's historically been such a pinnacle of research within, not only within our area, but within the state and in the region itself. So, we've got some lab space down there, so we're very grateful for that. Thank you, Dr. Todd Osborne, for that. And we're very lucky to again have that, you know, wealth of knowledge in terms of, you know, the researchers and the research that's being done there. And now we get to benefit from that,
That's
right?
right.
We get to enjoy the fruits of the tree, if you will.
And they're an awesome place over there.
Thank you.
5 fried shrimp and hush puppies.
Thank you.
Well, very cool, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us out.
Of course. Yeah. Would have loved to found some more fish out there,
That's
but
right.
yeah.
That's right.
Always a good day on the water, and really enjoyed y'all, you know, kind of highlighting the organization. So thank you, Julian.
Oh, there was a Fish Bites tournament. That's why I like to do the Fish Bites tournaments, because they raise money for worthy causes. And when was that? Spring? right?
October, last October.
Oh, October.
Or November.
November, I
Yeah,
believe.
last
Yeah,
fall.
yeah.
That's where they were, when they were raising funds for this organization, that's where I met them. And, you know, we started talking then. I just wanted to highlight this video, but I also had Brett come on because you guys see me throwing a lot of his Fight Club products. And there's a very specific reason I pick Fish Bites Fight Clubs, and it's because they're not made out of plastics. And Brent can go more into the science of that, but it's definitely worth listening to.
Yeah. As Julie said, and it's always been important to, well, it was important to Dr. Carr, who was the inventor of Fish Bites, and Terry Dillinger, our CEO now. We don't want to put anything else in the water we don't have to put out there. And trying to make a swim bait like that without plastic or rubber or any kind of PVCs in it, it's proven really difficult. Now, there's been a lot of other guys come on that have kind of figured out what we're doing in that regard, which is great, but I'm sure you saw earlier in the video all the little microplastics. What did you call those little
Nurdles?
Little nurdles
Yep.
is what they're called. They look like little beads, and that's what all plastic products start as. And then they mold them into these bigger things, but they're everywhere out here. And that is the beauty of the Fish Bites Fight Club line, is there are no plastics, rubbers, or PVCs in there. They will eventually break down over time, and we're not leaving that kind of stuff in the water. So
I want all of our water all over the state, all over the U.S., to continue to be productive for the next generation, for my grandkids, for their grandkids. And if we're taking care of it right, you know, helping out with foundations
that are out there doing the work, cleaning it up, and then when you're out there as a fisherman, fisherwoman, using the right products that are going to help our fishery, help our environment, rather than, I mean, you know, as a fisherman, if you're using a certain plastic or a lure and it gets broken off or stuck, that's going to sit there and rot, and it's going to eventually end up back in our system in the long run of it. So
going under a death by 1,000 cut situation. We don't have any major industry polluters directly discharging into our estuary. What we have is a lot of people. We have a lot of homeowners. And so the things that we can do are the things that at our own home, choices that we make, voting with your dollar, choosing not to put fertilizer on your lawn, choosing to reduce single-use plastic options.
So don't buy the plastic water bottles from Walmart. Go fill up your Stanley cup,
As
right?
simple as that is, I mean, I can't tell you the number one thing that we find out there is bottle caps.
Yeah.
And so it's the choices that we make here on land that are directly impacting our watershed and our estuary. And so we can always make better choices to help reduce that impact. And if we're going to grow the amount of people that are living within our watershed, we're going to have to make those choices.
So, or it'll disappear. That's what we were just all talking about before I turned the camera on, is that we can all, Brett said it first, we can all do more, whether that means come and help out with cleanups, beach cleanups, Gulf side, inshore side, all of that, but also, you know, simply using reusable grocery bags instead of the plastic bags. If we're not doing just little small tweaks of our daily life, we're gonna lose this. Maybe not for us currently, but it's gonna be a generational thing. And how could you experience and fish this and enjoy beauty and nature and not want that for your future great grandkids? I mean, it's just, to me, it's an easy equation. Like, let's do better so that the next 100 years, the water quality hopefully just improves rather than decreases in value. Well, thank you both. Thank you, Brett, for bringing our
clams. They're right out there.
All right.
Delicious.
Yeah.
There you go.
These boys want to get to eating, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you go over, what's the website again?
MatanzasRiverkeeper.org. You can find all of our information about our organization. We're on Facebook and Instagram, as well as at MatanzasRiverkeeper.org.
So I know I was just telling Silas that I'm gonna make the drive back over to the East Coast to do a river cleanup day, because I did have a lot of fun doing that today. Even though I wasn't catching fish, I was still, you know, helping out. So I will definitely be back with this organization. You guys go check them out, support them, subscribe to them, all that good stuff. You know what to do. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, y'all keep it real.